The Attack of the Crab Monsters, Little Shop of Horrors, and hundreds of others. A great many of his films are considered cult favorites, and many of their stars are now the biggest names in Hollywood. Please welcome Roger Corman.
The great thing about Roger was he exploited all of the young people who worked for him to the fullest, but at the same time, the other side of it was he really gave you responsibility.
Well, Roger was one of the most important American filmmakers.
He actually allows a lot of personal expression and a lot of personal choice.
We did those movies in 10 days for $265,000 and a box lunch.
He was my lifeblood to whatever I thought I was going to be as a person. Not just me, who's very sentimental, but these other people also love him.
He thought he was getting me for a good price. He didn't realize, and he'll learn to it, his shame and sorrow now. I'd have paid him to play this role.
Roger has affected hundreds of careers and made tons of movies. He's had to deal with every issue under the sun. But what happens when the law gets involved? This is the story of the production of The Intruder, Roger's collaboration with a then unknown William Shatner. It is one of the most challenging productions Hollywood has ever seen. Based on a novel by Charles Beaumont, the film tells the story of a small southern town that just desegregated its school. A stranger, played by Shatner, moves into town and proceeds to implement social reform.
To see that my country stays free, white, and American!
The thing that makes The Intruder special to me is that Roger doesn't hide in LA to make his controversial movie. He brings us to the source.
What?
Roger, can I talk to you for a second? You like to save a buck, right? Yeah. Well, it feels like we're making a movie about racism in America. Instead of hiring actors in LA, we're cutting costs by shooting in an actually racist town, just to save money. To keep tensions at a minimum with their host town, Corman used a fake script and gave real lines to the actors the day of. So a few quick changes to the scene. We just did a rewrite in the trailer. So you're gonna call him a make sure you work that in. All right, guys, let's go.
All right, places, everyone. Okay, camera and sound.
Scene 17, take one. Mark.
The locals soon grew suspicious. They eventually tracked down the book, and they were not thrilled. All of a sudden, equipment got damaged or stolen. Then the police stepped in. Roger and his crew are filming a lynching scene that would end up being the film's finale. Oh, thank God, it's the police. I hope nothing bad will happen in this racist town. Get out of this town or go to jail. So there Roger sits with a full crew and a clock ticking on the day. His next best option is a public park close by. On the fly, Roger will move this critical scene to another location. He will have to come back and get an establishing shot of the original location later. Action. Cameras had just started rolling when the cops show up again, and they wanted them gone. So Roger quickly sicked his assistant director, Gene, on them. Gene kept the cops talking out of frame while Roger filmed the crucial shots he needed at this location. Then, after a nod from Roger, Gene turned and said, "Don't worry, we'll be gone after lunch." While the crew broke for lunch, Roger hops into his car and races to a country school he remembers from the initial location scout. After lunch, the crew followed, and they were able to finish the day shooting with no permit and no cops. Good day of movie magic here, boys. You did just a great job. You know, for a second, I really believed you were dying there. Roger, don't we need the establishing shot? Roger walks up to his director of photography. We need to go back and get the school. Roger, I'm with you to the end, but that cop was serious. 5-minute adventure, tops. Roger, he will throw us into jail. Fine, give me the camera. Check the weather. Prep the camera for the stop you think I'll need. Tape down the focus to infinity. I'll get it. All Roger needs is just a few seconds of the school, but if the officer sees him, it's curtains for him. Despite the best efforts of a hostile town, Corman finished the film, but the production process is only half the battle. Critics were thrilled with the movie, so much so that there was a viewing scheduled at Cannes. However, critics are not the Hollywood brass. The MPA, or the Motion Picture Institute of America, were not thrilled with the use of the N-word in the movie.
I swear I believe that boy's got blood in him somewhere.
And refused to give it the seal of approval. Corman was furious and went to the press, stating that the MPA was discriminating against smaller films like his. Cannes ended up pulling the film due to its controversial nature and the racial unrest in the country at the time. And the final haymaker was when the film's own distributor, Pathé Labs, quit the business, leaving The Intruder in limbo. Few audiences ended up seeing The Intruder. However, I can say with confidence that the film is engaging and a challenging watch. It's free on YouTube. There's a certain grittiness and reality that low-budget films possess, which gives them honesty. And we are given an honest look at the racial attitude in the early 60s. The content of this video is based on Roger's own words in his book, How I Made 100 Movies in Hollywood and Never Lost a Dime, a book that lives up to its title.